Welcome back, and the whole team is assembled.
Sure.
Hello, hello, hello. Achina Brintour joins us again, and you know what? It's great to have you. You're looking very
Anytime.
African.
Wait till Roland comes, and we will be back to the consolidated four.
Yes, indeed.
It will be good.
Yes, indeed. I can't wait. I can't wait. By the way, Roland is having a little too much fun. We should send him some work.
I thought he was working.
What was he doing?
Roland?
Yes.
Oh, one of the many things that he does.
He's Galamsey.
Okay.
Mama, how you doing?
I'm okay. I mean, I'm good. Today's Friday. I can't believe today's Friday.
I know.
Yeah.
I got a text message from one of our avid viewers, and he says he's absolutely in love with you. You're always looking amazing. And I agreed. I said, look,
so true.
Mama video, no any sauce.
Yeah.
Only sauce.
Did you tell him that when he comments, he has to do the do?
Oh, Charlie, that thing, it flies in the face of economics. Mama of fans, I should now pay for the fans I'm giving you. How does that work?
But listen, it's been 5 years since Komla Dumo passed.
Yes.
Yeah, today's 18 years, so this is an anniversary.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember exactly where I was when I heard about it. Yeah. It was
a Saturday.
It was a Saturday afternoon. I was driving past Infantsipim school, so naturally I had some rashes. I have an allergic reaction when I drive past Infantsipim. So I was feeling let's admit. And then I got a phone call from a friend of mine who worked here at Joy FM, Niayi Tego. And Niayi told me what had happened, and I could not believe it.
Yeah.
I stopped the car. I remember I just stopped the car.
Yeah. Well, okay, but following from that, we know the BBC instituted the Komla Dumo Award, and every year journalists gets the opportunity to better themselves. We've had lots of people, no Ghanaian yet, but we're hoping that we will grab that award someday. It's been a celebration, if you like, after his death. So we'll continue to celebrate.
So somebody said that it is not how long you live, but the impact you make within the period of time that you are around.
Absolutely.
So for me, Kwamina Jumo's death, anytime we remember it, should not give us cause to mourn, but give us cause to challenge ourselves. That we are the now Kwamina Jumos, and we should even do better.
That's true.
Given the opportunities, the resources, and even the expansion of frontiers of journalism available to us. Yeah.
A big responsibility. And it would help if they wouldn't be shooting us down in the streets while we try to do our job.
That is it.
All
very,
right,
very
so
sad
this
story.
is in remembrance of Komla Dumo. May he continue to rest in peace.
Amen.
The boss player.
Yeah.
Okay then, shall we do some newspapers?
Absolutely.
We have a few this morning. I'll do the Ghanaian Times and the Daily Guide.
Now let Benjamin take two, and then I'll take one. I'm the princess.
That's right.
I have the Dispatch, I have the Finder.
By the way, Soso is like a title.
When
you are the Soso, you are the sauce.
I have the sauce.
Soso. And it goes with a hand gesture. So it's like Princess Queen Soso. The source of all beauty. All right, Ghanaian Times. And we have these public outrage over murder of journalist. Homicide unit of CID commences investigation. President and GJA and government condemn killing of journalist. Cabinet approves $30 million for Yendi water supply expansion project. That was announced by the information minister yesterday. Also, Ghanaians living abroad should vote only on presidential candidates. That might be attributed to the former EC chair, Dr. Farijan. Now, let's go to the back page of the Ghanaian Times. Musiaso, I hope I've said that right, to get 100-bed capacity hospital. Also, AMA begins demolishing of, I think that should be demolition, of slums to pave way for fishing harbour. Every time we have to go through this exercise, it comes with quite a bit of fallout. Let's see how it is managed on this occasion. I'll do the Daily Guide quickly. Anas boy killed Hollywood style. That's the banner headline. Pictures of Anas Ahmed Hussein Swale, who was killed, and his BMW 3 Series, in which he was driving at the time. Okay, sperm test for Tema killer, and killer is in quotations because He hasn't been found guilty yet by any court. Baumia in Yendi for Yana funeral, and JB's wife sues Ken and 8 others. Interesting story. Also, fire destroys Odona Market. That is also in the Daily Guide. On the back page, some sports stories, starting with Goyle wishes Kotoko well. Good morning to all our friends at Goyle. We have been focused. We have to be focused. That's the Kotoko captain speaking, Amos Wimpong. And Sefa ruled out for Coton Sport clash. That's a pity. He will be gutted. And Dembele quits Tottenham for China. When the noodles start calling, you will leave the potatoes behind.
Okay.
There we go.
I have the Daily Dispatch. Mahama likely to win with at least 65%, based on analysis from National Executive Elections. NDC to revise flag bearer election guidelines. Then also reaction to Ahmed's murder. I also have at the back page, I think, funeral announcement of Honorable Emmanuel Kwabena Echampong Tremanten Ejakon.
It's 26.
Okay. The finder says, find Ahmed's killers. President Ghanaians charge security agencies. So you have Ahmed Hussein Swali's picture at the page. Then ex-UT Capital Bank staff plead for loan discount, whether they've taken loan or something. Yendi gets 30 million US dollars water supply project. One Ghana movement condemns killing of Ahmed. The back page has no story.
Okay, let's finish off with a Daily Graphic. Front page, mourners besiege Yendi Yane's funeral today. It was one of cultural display yesterday where we're told that everything will come to an end today. We know the Andanis are organizing this one because earlier the Abulus did theirs, and we're already smelling some freedom. The people are looking forward to some development following this funeral rite. Forget all the skirmishes that had happened earlier, but we are getting somewhere with this. Back to the front page, murder of Tiger IPI member. President calls police to action. Government GJA condemn killing. Back page of the paper now. AMA Fire Service investigates cause of Odona Market fire. But we're not hopeful, right? Because we will not even know the reports, what's contained in that reports. Who's looking forward to it? Small Scale Miners Association commits to responsible mining. And if you check the center spread of the paper, it's the final funeral rites of Yana Yakubu Andani II. Some of the things that happened yesterday, some chiefs and people of Dagbon heading for the palace. So these are pictures, essentially, of activities yesterday in Dagbon. Justice Beidou is our colleague. He's been reporting for us, and he will do same. So we'll keep you updated with what's happening in Yendi, specifically in Dagbon. All right, where shall we begin?
Where indeed, there's quite a lot going on in the world. But this story in the Daily Guide, it's a bit to the side of...
Which one's the Tiger Eye?
You see, that's what I was going to say. It's a bit to the side of the Tiger Eye story, but it highlights an aspect of the Tiger Eye story that I think is worth talking about. So the headline is, JB's wife sues Ken and 8 others. Okay. Ken here is Kennedy Japan. Now, I don't know if you remember.
Central MP.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know if you recall, but a few months ago, Kennedy Japan, in one of his outspoken moments, accused the widow of JB Dankwa Edu of carrying on a relationship with Anas, Aremiao Anas. The wife is called Ivy Hewitt Mills, the widow. And yes, he put out that accusation. She has taken exception to it and decided to sue him and 8 others for defamation. So that will go to court. Now, I remember reading it and thinking, I've met Madam Ivy Hewitt Mills, and she came across as a very calm lady. And she seemed to me one of those people who it would take quite a lot to get her, you know, riled up or upset. But this clearly has, you know, to the point where she seeks legal redress.
Yeah.
And very few people can have that kind of effect on people like this. And Kennedy Agyapong is an example. Yesterday, I don't know if you listened to him on Asempa.
No, I only listened to our version, you know, the interview that we did for the news on Joy.
Now, you see, I wanted to hear what he had to say. This is the problem. He is a newsmaker. He is a prominent politician. He's a member of parliament.
You mean what he has to say on the court suit against him?
No, I wanted to hear what he had to say about the killing
of Ahmed.
Yeah.
But the whole tirade was full of insults and vulgarity, and I was thinking, look, I'm not the only one who wants to hear this. I may have a tough exterior and I might be able to tolerate this, but there are children listening, there are people with delicate sensibilities listening, and nobody seems able to tell him to stop. Nobody seems able to stand up to him. There are too few people like Madam Heward Mills who would actually publicly resist the overwhelming personality of Kennedy Agyapong. What's the solution? You see, what's the solution to Kennedy Agyapong?
Another privilege.
All right, you know, I remember 2 years ago when 100 days after the president, so almost 2 years ago, 100 days after the president was sworn in, we had an event at the law court building with Dr. Baumia, the vice president, to talk about the progress that government had made over 100 days. And I recall asking the vice president a question about Kennedy Agyapong at the time, who had been praising vigilantes, you know, the Delta forces and so forth, and saying that anybody who tried to touch them, by the way, at this time, the Delta forces were in court, okay, for some criminal act they had committed. And he was saying that if anybody dares convict them, you know, via brimstone and all that, and the very next day, some other Delta forces went to, you know, rampage and ransack the court in an unprecedented event, by the way. This has never happened in the history of Ghana. They went there and, you know, caused mayhem and freed those who were, you know, in court. He then came back and said, oh, I'm sorry. But I don't even understand why what he was saying to him was any different from what they did. Or why he can't see the connection between what he said and what they did. You know, and after that I asked the vice president, what are they going to do about Kennedy Agyapong? He dodged the question.
So you're still asking what's the solution to Ken?
It's clear that not even his party feel able to stop him from the excesses. And yesterday was an excess. I mean, but who's going to tell him?
Let me just briefly say, what is the solution to Kennedy Agyapong? The concerns you raise border on indecent language, inappropriate conduct as a member of parliament. Perhaps it will not be limited to Kennedy Agyapong. Previously, we used to have some other persons who spoke inappropriately when it comes to political discourse. But you realize that the media began to black them out one after the other, and they went off or they reformed. That can be one solution to not just Ken, but everybody who speaks inappropriately. He's a member of parliament, he keeps getting re-election. So what is the solution to members of parliament who represent me, you, and act inappropriately? The people who vote for them should not vote for them, not just Ken, but everybody within that scope. And I also think that when, as a government, I wouldn't say Ken is in the classical sense of a part of government, but the extent to which he postures himself, obviously, has by de facto, not de jure, but de facto made him an associate of the government.
Of the executive, because in parliament he is part of government.
Of course, he mentions their name anytime he has opportunity to comment. What is their own stand on some of what he does? I don't also blame our politicians so much. It's also about the level. If you look at your level, what will you tolerate JB's wife's level, JB's widow's level, what will she tolerate? When your level is low, it becomes very difficult for you to make a quality judgment.
That's very important.
Yes, the level of quality judgment of the Ghanaian, by and large, need to be looked at. We need to look at public education, serious public education. People are just okay that they see somebody on TV and the person is their MP. And he becomes a hero by that factor. But if we get to know that being on TV is nothing, apart from the quality that you are putting in what you are doing, then it will not just be celebrating just anybody, but they will celebrate people like Ahmed, people like Anas, yourself, who wake up very early in the morning to make sure that things that has to be disseminated to the people get to them. So that's just what I would say on the other angle. If we come and we get the opportunity to discuss Ahmed's death, I think I'll have some concerns. I'm sure you may want to comment on Ken. I don't know.
Well, I think you guys have said it all. I mean, he's been hauled to the Privileges Committee. There was the very last appearance, which I thought the Deputy Speaker did a really, really good job. Maybe somebody should make another complaint beside this criminal investigation, which we're told the police say they invited him after the appearance on Asempa yesterday.
I mean, how does the MP of Medina feel sitting in Parliament with his colleague Kennedy Japan, who called for his constituent to be beaten up by the public? How does that MP feel?
Good question.
You know, and you've got to ask yourself, if, look, somebody, an expert in his field, told Parliament that if they don't understand his field, they shouldn't talk about it. Parliament got upset and hauled him, not just him, but me, the person hosting the show when he said it, when he spoke that truth. They hauled us both to Parliament.
But I've got a question.
What's it called?
Did we all miss the video?
Which one?
The video that came out.
I didn't.
You know, where Ken was asking, because
No, we did not miss it.
So was he invited? Because that was one of the questions I was asking yesterday. Was he invited? Like, did the police look into it before this incident happened?
I doubt it. Even after the incident, what I hear is that the police went to visit him. That's
what were you expecting? I mean, you can, unless you have some evidence, you can only question and let it be part of your investigation.
And Kojo, if you listen, I was at the office.
No, I'm not even talking about the murder. I'm talking about the offense he committed by calling on the public to beat someone up.
Okay. So I was told yesterday that you have to, if somebody threatens you, you have to make a report, because the police cannot just wake up. They can't just act. They can't just wake up and do that.
The evidence of their eyes.
You have to report.
So they've witnessed the crime.
If I threaten you,
the victim must report it first.
If I threaten you, you have to make an official complaint to the police.
How about if you threaten me in front of the police?
That is where I was coming to. That you've seen a crime being committed, and you have to wait for me to come back to you.
You are assuming that the police saw the video.
Why,
in this country, you want to cover your back.
I wanted to tie into what Kojo said. That listening to the tirade of Kennedy Japan in the studio, he threw up a number of things, and you can have various classes of offenses within it. Some involve insult, some involve assault, psychic assault, some involve reputational damage to entities. Of course, he called Anas's lawyer a lot of names. Many people.
As in yesterday?
As in yesterday. And it's not just yesterday. And I don't want to make this a subject of Kennedy Japan, because he's not the only person who's been going on that tangent. When people do not necessarily do something so extraordinary, let's say they don't do something that this is so clear, somebody is dead, you see that nobody acts. But you realize that every now and then, like you asked, how come we go to the point of the video and we scale it? We should not have glossed over it. If you listen to some radio programs that air in this country, the issues that they throw up, the names that they call, we don't just have to gloss over them until we get to a crescendo, or we get to a certain pitch which we all cannot contain. Kennedy Japan yesterday in the studio said that if they invite me, I won't go. Then later you said I'll go. It does undermine the office of state security. If state security is undermined consistently, it doesn't matter how gradual, it doesn't matter how slow. If it's done consistently, it will get to a point people will not be afraid. Somebody walks into a church and kills another person, a minister of God. It happened in Tema Community 4, Reverend Nebadmo. Into a church. Where did we get here? How did we get here?
You know, yesterday as I listened to international media reports, I was questioning myself if this my country they're talking about like that.
They were talking about some war zone, you know. And by the way, I think it's a good segue into that substantive issue of the killing of Ahmed Hussein Swale and all the groups around the world that are condemning it. In Ghana, we are killing.
I was shocked. And when the analysis was done, there was a security expert, I think it was Adam Bona, who was saying this is like a Colombia style of killing. I was like, gee, this is Ghana we're talking about. Since when did we get here? And if you start, listing the things, the incidents that have happened, the very last one before this latest incident, the GPHA, the Gapoha lady, I think we've had a series of things unresolved killings, and we need the police to act. I mean, and I'm just tired of different groupings organizing press conferences or releasing statements and commenting, and then you see the police take some action. Like, we want the police to get ahead of us. Get ahead of everybody else. Get ahead of the president. Don't wait for somebody to say, police, take action. Like, do something. And when you're acting, let us know what you're doing. Communicate to us. Sometimes I feel like the media houses even have more information than the police.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's because they do. In many cases, they do.
Because otherwise, then we're scared. Because this could happen to anybody. We don't walk around with bodyguards.
It's so true. It's so true. And let me take this opportunity to commensurate with the family of Ahmed. Sutherland said that crying the death day of another is crying your own death, because then you will not be around. All of us must get to understand that in our line of work, we will get to our Ahmed days. Somebody said that if you have nothing to die for, life is not worth living. Most of the reports cascade to the point that he died on the line of duty. I'm sure investigation will give us more. But all of us need to get to a point where we are ready to die for what we do. Are you ready to die for what you do?
I certainly hope it doesn't come to that. But if nobody will do it, we must, right?
We need to get to a point to stand for something. It may not be maybe journalism for you, or we all must have something that we are ready to say that I'm not ready to compromise. So let's say if for Ahmed, the point is about bringing out the truth when it comes to state corruption, and he has to stick out his neck for which reason he will go, you also need to ask yourself, what are you ready, this life that God is giving you, what are you ready to stand for?
I'll reflect on that.
That is something about me. And I also want to say to state security that if they continue to allow these things to happen, by and large, investment for this country is going to stall. If I have money to invest, I will not take it to a country where people can just be killed and there will not be any form of information or action that appears as if something seriously is being done, because this appears to be very, very, very consistent. And if it continues in this manner, Ghana is going to lose. We no longer have the brand of a peaceful country. Or do we still?
And I hope that the police will not, they will broaden their investigations
Okay.
They will not be lured into looking into just one hole.
Sure,
You've got to broaden.
That is true.
Are there other stories that we have to look at? Maybe one more.
Yeah, let's do one more. And by the way, I certainly hope we still retain the brand of a peaceful country. I hope so, because these incidents should not overshadow the record that our country has built over years for avoiding conflict of this nature. In fact, this is an opportunity for us to prove that what they say of us is true.
Yeah.
You know, so if this has happened, how we react to it, how we respond quickly, how we bring justice is what will end up cementing that reputation. So
but
I certainly hope.
Not to cut, but do you know that if your parents are watching, do you know they can call you and say, "Kojo, be careful."
They do every day.
Because, you know, if it gets to a point where a journalist is concerned about this editorial stance on issues, then we've gotten very far. And I can tell you, maybe we will not be front with our inner intuitions, but are we so ready to go all out and discuss the issues from the perspective that we will discuss outside of the studio?
Yeah. My parents call me every day.
Yeah. Be careful.
And by the way, even they have found themselves in danger because of what I do.
Exactly.
So,
Wow.
Yes.
Which shouldn't be.
No.
Okay, so maybe we go to My Joy Online.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's check out what's on our page, myjoyonline.com this day. Here we go. NPA denies allegations of reckless victimization of local LPG operators. Full story on myjoyonline.com. Also, building cathedral but removing RME from syllabus is hypocrisy. Ghana sweets. They're taking the religious moral education out.
Yes, but they are building a cathedral.
Undercover investigator killing, homicide unit takes over probe. Limiting killing to Kennedy, Japan is letting killers loose. That's according to a security analyst. Kennedy, Japan calls for Anna's arrest over Ahmed murder. I shot them, confessions of a serial photographer. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's very creative.
It tricked you.
Oh, that's nice.
So this is upskirting to be criminalized in England and Wales.
That is looking up the skirt of a woman.
Oh, filming up someone's clothing without their permission. So, you know, kind of like somebody's climbing the stairs and you looking from down.
Actually filming it with your phone. So guys do that. You see in the picture, the guy is holding the phone. So some guys do this, okay? They'll follow a girl with a short skirt and then they'll use their camera to film under her skirt.
Oh, shame on all guys who do that.
Not all. Oh, please.
No, I said shame on all guys who do that.
Who do.
Hello?
Not all guys.
Yes, massive shame on all of them. All right. Oh, Yendi gets a $30 million water supply project after peaceful chieftaincy process. And we heard about this yesterday. Wave of killings threaten the right to life and liberty of Ghanaians. That is what Amnesty International is saying. And yeah, you can see this is what Mamavi was talking about, isn't it? Okay. We're devastated by Hussein Swale dastardly killing. That is Tiger IPI. They put that in a statement. Kennedy, Japan calls for, we've talked about that. NDC agrees to revise presidential primaries guidelines. These are just a few of the stories on myjoyonline.com.
All right, we'll check out what's making headlines, the BBC as well. There's the Africa page, and then we will talk about Mr. Trump. We'll have our Trump moment today. Charlie. Okay,
yo.
We're getting ready to check out what's making headlines on the BBC. But we're talking about rape today on our show. And this is coming from...
And sexual abuse.
Yeah, coming from social media. So we're kind of lifting something that's made huge headlines this week, or gotten a lot of people talking and sharing their experiences on social media. We're lifting it up on the show today. And we'll share some of the stories, some of the narrations. And I say that almost every person has had like a close shave, some kind of experience, something close to it, if not the act itself.
Have you?
Close shaves? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But by and large, as more enlightenment about what constitutes rape comes up, we are beginning to realize that even some way, somehow, the very innocent people are guilty in a way. Because then sometimes your own girlfriend, it's taking no to many years. As for women, that's how they are. You should not think it as if you actually did it at a point of a gun. But really, from the definitions we are getting. And could you, with this liberalization of sexual orientation, with homosexualism also coming, more or less coming, though we have not legalized it, men should be on the lookout. Because then if somebody is gay and his sexual preference is a man, he can pin you down as violently as they do to a woman and rape you raw and square, though you are a man. So we do not have to just leave the campaign to women to fight, because now people don't just prefer women, they prefer men as well.
Although, I mean, statistics around the world would indicate that there is a massive disparity between rapes among same-sex couples as opposed to male to female. In fact, I think that the figure of women raping men might even be higher than the figure of men raping men, reported cases.
Say that again, women?
With a figure of the number of women
raping men
might be higher than the number of. I don't want to be quoted on it. I remember reading it somewhere.
No, I want to understand what you are saying. I want to understand it. I didn't hear it well.
Yeah, it's something I would like to look up to refresh my memory.
Okay, so thankfully on our show this morning we've got a lawyer coming up, because you know the definition of what constitutes rape, and you know the kind of defense that you can put up if you didn't do it. You know, people have been asking questions. If I come and dance around you, Kojo, you know, like I brought myself, and you still can't do anything to me, because if you did, that would constitute rape without my consent. You know, that's coming up really strongly. So we have somebody in the studio to answer all the questions, and we will share experiences. We're all joining in the conversation.
And you know, this ambiguity around consent, we have a little video that might help you understand really what it all is about, so that you are clear in your mind when you are crossing the boundary into sexual abuse.
Even with your own wife.
Indeed, yes.
Okay, so real quick, let's touch base with the BBC. Let's go through speedily. Let's start off. DR Congo urged to delay election results. And AU, I don't know, like they go and sleep and then they wake up sometime. So they're waking up. The African Union is calling on the country to delay the final results of the disputed presidential election. So we know provisional results says an opposition person has won, but there's another opposition person who's disputing that. And there are persons who are saying this particular person who provisionally has won, Tshisekedi, has got links with the outgoing presidents, you know, so there's some kululu in Ghana, that's what we would say. So that's the latest on Congo, but let's cross over and do Donald Trump, because a few things coming out of America. One is the fact that the US president has postponed the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's upcoming trip to Brussels and Afghanistan, asking her to stay to negotiate an end to the partial US government shutdown. He's also cancelled his own visit to Davos because of the partial shutdown. But there's something brewing in America. Kojo, you asked me, and I tried to check on the CNN website, and here it is. U.S. President directed his attorney to lie to Congress about the Moscow Trump Tower project. 2 federal law enforcement officials involved in the probe tell BuzzFeed. Wow. So something that's coming up in the headlines is the fact that Trump directed Cohen to lie to Congress. And you can check all of these out. You can either go to BBC or CNN.
There's an even worse accusation in on page 5 of the Daily Guide, that Cohen now says that Trump actually told him to pay for pool rigging.
Yeah, okay, that's also on the CNN
which is
side.
perhaps an even more serious accusation than collusion and all of the other things they've been trying to prove.
Yeah, and if you've been following the royal family, then you would know that Prince Philip, who is 97, was involved in a car accident.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your town people.
His car, turned over. He was driving himself.
He was driving,
97 years old.
Yeah.
And he not a scratch on him.
But
that can only happen when you're driving in a Land Rover.
But if you look at the vehicle, it was pretty. The damage was intense.
Yeah.
And then they said he was a bit shaking, and afraid. So, but he's okay.
He's fine.
He's fine.
Thank God.
Hopefully, he won't drive himself again.
I don't know if that's what caused it.
All right.
Okay. I don't know whether he's the cause of the accident, but
true.
He's fine. Right.
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay, shall we do sports?
Yes, Roger Federer. Federer is my guy. He's through to the final round of 16. And then there's the ladies as well. There's Sharapova and Wozniacki through to the third. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sharapova has made an amazing comeback, hasn't she?
I don't like her.
You don't like her?
I don't like the noise.
She's not bad to look at.
And I don't like the fact that she and Serena are not, so I don't like her. I don't like her because of Serena.
Hey, I see.
Yeah.
So
you know stay Serena? With us.
Are you Serena?
I like her.
You hear? I hear you.
We've got details in sports coming up. We're talking tennis. We're talking other things. What do you like in sports?
Football.
Oh, okay. All right. So
I could have told you that.
Stay with us, and then we'll come back, and then we'll have that conversation, that very important conversation, and rape and abuse.